Leading up to the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, the American army was coming off of some demoralizing losses. Charleston, Camden, Benedict Arnold's betrayal. The revolution was, once again, hanging on by a thread, so America's Southern commander, General Nathaniel Greene, decides to fight a war of avoidance. Don't face Britain's army head on and don't give them this big win that they can brag about. Instead, make them chase him through the southern countryside. This means the British are stretching their supply lines thin trying to keep up with him, and they can't keep their troops in any cities that they capture to hold them long enough. Their victory at Guilford Courthouse came with such heavy losses that Lord Cornwallis decides to move his troops to Virginia, and he decides to set up at Yorktown. He knew the American Navy was basically nothing compared to the British, but what he didn't know was that the French had sent a naval fleet to cut off the British fleet that was going to meet him there. The massive French fleet forces the British ships to have to fall back to New York, and knowing that Cornwallis has no access to the sea, George Washington and French commander Rochambeau attack the British troops at Yorktown, and the stars are out for the Continental Army. You've got George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Henry Knox, Baron von Steuben, Marquis de Lafayette, and they've got Cornwallis and his men completely trapped and overpowered with no hope of escape. So after weeks of fighting, Lord Cornwallis has no choice but to surrender his 7,500 men. Conveniently, he is sick when he's supposed to do so, so he sent his second in command, Charles O'Hara, to do this on his behalf. And O'Hara is embarrassed to be surrendering to the Americans, so he first tries surrendering a sword to Rochambeau, who is the French commander-in-chief, but Rochambeau refuses. He points him over to George Washington. And when he offers his sword to George Washington, he refuses as well, pointing him to his second-in-command, Benjamin Lincoln. Now, this is technically customary since officers are supposed to surrender to an officer of the same rank. I'd imagine Washington got some satisfaction out of this exchange. Now, this doesn't immediately end the war, but with their conflicts against the French and Spanish, and at this point the Netherlands continuing throughout the world, and already in the 6th year of this war, the British are starting to realize that their chances of winning are very slim, and they wonder if it's worth the cost to keep fighting. And for the Americans, after years of just barely surviving, they now have the momentum fully on their side. So follow for Day 8, 1782, wrapping up the Revolutionary War.